Well, on this Monday, it looks to me like the chances of seeing snow, not just late this week, but into the following week, are increasing across the country as the weather pattern starts to shift up. One thing I like to look at, especially when we're looking at snow totals, it's the ensemble guidance. It gives us an idea what the more than 50 members are showing, at least the average, and this is averaging that out and giving you the probability of seeing more than 3 inches of snow. Now this would take you through the 10th. This would be through next Monday. So clearly, most of that snow falling across the northern tier. But I want to take you out in time a little bit further. Look what happens as we head toward Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We're developing more guidance for snow here across the central U.S. I mean, look down into Oklahoma, Kansas, east into Missouri, northern Arkansas, Kentucky, and even into Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. And I'm telling you, it's pretty wild to see that much snow in the Northeast. It's been quite some time since I've seen guidance this strong suggesting snow, more than January in some areas. So that's one of the reasons I'm thinking we could have a snowier month on hand. It's starting warm, sure, but look what happens over the next week or so. This would take you out now through the 6th and the 7th. This would be Friday. Snow piling up across the northern tier with one system moving through across the west too. And then by next week, more chances for snow. Now, timing out exactly where this would be is shoddy at best. I totally get it. You can't look at an operational run and go, holy cow, look at that. But it's not been showing something like this for quite some time. That always gives me pause and makes me go, hey, there may be something brewing heading into next week for sure. And the pattern is definitely changing up. Take a look at where we are right now. This week, we've got this pretty decent ridge here across the United States. Big trough across the west. This right here is funneling in just a ton of moisture across the west coast, into the Rockies, into the Sierra. Snow piling up in the order of feet. But here's where the change happens. Across Alaska and then north of Europe, we start to bring some warm air up across the North Pole. That really disrupts things as we head into next week. So by Saturday, we're starting to push some of this cold air to the east. We're digging a trough now down into North America. Big ridge still across Alaska. And notice how across the North Pole, this ridge across Europe really kind of retrogrades over toward Greenland. That matters. That's what we call blocking pattern. You've set that up. Everything blocked up across the North Pole. That puts the cold air down into the mid-latitudes somewhere. The latest guidance puts it into North America, and I'm telling you what, that puts your storm track here. It's going to be a wild ride ahead, guys. That's in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing. So pretty crazy. I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. We're going to go through it day by day, and I'll be doing multiple updates, not just this week, but also into next week, and it looks like maybe even the following week. So it's getting pretty busy again on the winter side of things. Low pressure expected to move through the country as we head through this weekend. But before then, we've got a lot of weather to get to. Let's talk about the snow that's moving through the Great Lakes now today. That's going to put some accumulation from Michigan over into the northern parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. And then across the west, we've got snow moving in. Big time rain too here. That's going to be piling up. Again, as I said, into the Sierra, the Cascades, into the mountains of Idaho. A little bit too warm down into Boise, but get up into the mountains, and we're talking about feet of snow. And then, you get into eastern Montana. It's always tough to get the heavier snows here, but back into the mountains, some decent snow. Winter storm warnings are posted for many of these areas. Weather.gov has all of those for you. And then look at this absolute mess that we're looking at once we get toward now Thursday, the 6th. That's this coming Thursday across lower Michigan. Also parts of Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Some folks get upset I don't mention every state. That's why I show the maps, guys. So it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time to mention every single state. I love all of you. I get it. But some people really get hung up on it if I don't say your state. So did I miss Indiana? Maybe I did. Sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm being facetious. But you get the idea. We're dealing with a winter storm that's moving in. I think the problem with this is going to be some ice. You've got cold air in place at the surface, some warm air riding up over top of that more dense cold air. And that sets the stage for some wintry mix. Sleet, freezing rain, probably some snow too. The further north you go, it looks like more snow up into Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. And then that continues to push off to the east. There could even be some ice as far south as the New River Valley, Shenandoah Valley, north into Maryland, and then into Pennsylvania, especially in the valleys as that cold air gets stuck. Western PA, we start to warm up with that southwest flow, so we go back over to rain. The same across southern Ohio, or really northern Ohio, southern parts of Michigan, and Indiana as that warm air moves north. Now we're dealing with the mess into the northeast heading into Thursday. What does it look like into New York? It could start as a mix, then maybe go back over to rain. For the further north you go, the more wintry precipitation you're going to see. And then here comes our next storm that's going to bring more wintry precipitation to the rest of the country. We're going to get into all of that. Warm across the south. We're talking about temperatures here above average, below average from the northern tier all the way back into the west, with heavy snow falling here, and then a cold shot of air into the northeast that doesn't really dig south. We've got some showers here along the south, and then moving north. And here comes our next storm out of the Rockies, pushing east. This starts to open up a broad area of snow on the northern side of that from, really Wisconsin west all the way to the Rockies here, and then rain out ahead of this. And look at this. We could be dealing with back-to-back ice storms. Not just this week, but maybe even another one this Saturday into Sunday for almost the same areas that I just showed you. So this is now storm number 2. Count them. Multiple storms, I think, are on the way, and multiple chances. Now, if you're sitting here, it's just rain, right? Or not much yet. Hold on. There's bigger changes coming ahead. Now, as we head into Saturday and Sunday, more ice and snow for the northeast. Some rain out ahead of this front that's moving south. Here comes some Arctic air behind it. Now we're getting cold across the central U.S., and that cold air pushing south. Snow for the northeast. We're settling down some across the west. We've pushed our baroclinic zone. That's the dividing line between warm and cold air much further to the south now. So with that moving generally here into this direction toward the deep south, as high pressure pushes that cold air all the way into, I think northern parts of Alabama, Georgia, even into Mississippi. Here comes your next storm. It's probably going to form wherever this line sets up. And now you could get a big Central Plains winter storm starting to develop. Look at this, guys. So several days out still. This has been showing up now for the last couple of model runs. We are looking at day 8. However, I will say this. It's been here for a while. This could put some snow into Oklahoma. I say could because, again, it's several days out, Missouri, and then moving north. A heavy snow possible along the Ohio River into Kentucky. And the guidance has been eyeing Virginia, the D.C. metro area, Pennsylvania, the last couple of runs, especially if you look at the ensemble guidance. That's where it's been really focusing that heavy snow. And this would put some heavy snow into New York. Starting as snow, trying to flip over to freezing rain on the European. That looks weird to me. Everything about that looks weird. Again, we're looking now at late next week. At this point, I'm just going, will there even be a storm? And where will it track? We're within 500 miles at this point, so it's really far out. But I'm looking at the pattern. The pattern is very, very stormy over the next couple of weeks. GFS has all of this going on too. I'm going to go back to last night's run. I like the 6C, but sometimes it gets a little wonky. It also has the ice as we head into now Thursday and Friday with another system moving in by the weekend. We've talked about that on the European. I'm concerned, and I really want to look at next week's guidance because it's kind of all over the place, but it still has that snow, that wintry precipitation. It looks a little different, and it will. This just looks really weird to me. I don't know, but it really brings your low up the Ohio Valley, putting that heavier snow a little bit further to the north. Either way, staying active with more cold air moving in, and look, multiple chances for storms. I just think this is going to be a wild month ahead. A closer look at the short term for the northeast. There's the snow moving through Maine. Someone said, and I get it. The timestamp normally is here. It's tough for me to get used to, but now it's down here for all the OGs. If you've been here a while, I'm putting it here so you can see the entire map. Hope that helps some for you guys. But yeah, you've got the snow here into Maine. Here comes the snow through Michigan into southern Ontario. As we move now into this evening, that moves into the northeast. Just some showers possible further to the south as warm air moves in, and then high pressure builds into the northeast. Here comes the mixed precipitation back across Illinois, northern Missouri, Iowa. That moves north into Wisconsin and southern Michigan. And I'm telling you, watch out in this region. That ice could be heavy. Could see some freezing rain, sleet, and then it tries to transition back over to all rain. On the northern side of that, all snow. This moves into the northeast. It gets really tricky here as we head into now Thursday into Friday. That moves out, and the next system starts to take shape just to your west. High pressure builds into the northeast, just showers here from Kentucky, North Carolina, Virginia, and even into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, just rain here out ahead of this next system. But there comes the ice. I mean, look, it's hammering the same places. At least it's showing up. That looks really odd to me, but this could be really rough for you folks across southern Michigan, also into Pennsylvania with this ice, multiple days of it. As we move into the weekend, this ice moves into the northeast with another chance of freezing rain here, and then colder air moves into the east. Lake effect snow picks up. Now we're looking again at our storm into next week that develops across the central plains. Does this come to pass? I don't know. Again, we're a week out, but could be one heck of a storm. All eyes are on that. Here's the snow through today and tonight and really into tomorrow. That weak system that's moving through the Great Lakes, a couple of inches here, also into the northeast. A little bit of snow as well. Some of this already falling. All right, across the central plains and the central U.S., let's talk about what's going on here. Snow across the northern plains moving east, then we dry out. High pressure building in. Maybe a few showers as we head into now Wednesday as our moisture picks up here. Southerly flow. Some ice possible across Missouri into Iowa. Some snow across the Dakotas, mostly North Dakota, eastern Montana. Very light snow possible here. It doesn't look like a huge snow event for you, but heavier snow into Minnesota and the UP of Michigan, and then that moves east. We start to dry out some. A few showers lingering into Kentucky as we move into Thursday, and then into Friday, our next storm across the west, picking up the snow across Wyoming, kicking out into Colorado, and now some snow up here into South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. And there's that ice we've already talked about. Cold air now pushing further south into Kansas and Oklahoma once we get toward the weekend. And again, this is where things get really interesting heading into next week. This is a cold polar air mass moving south. You've got your boundary set up pretty far to the south. That's going to keep your storm track out of this region and put it more along this stretch of the country. And there you go. Let's see how all that shakes out. More to come. There's the snow through the next 24 hours. This now takes you through Thursday. Again, this week looking pretty good here. Enjoy the week. Temperatures above freezing. But look, there's your snow chances heading into next week. Certainly going up. Across the west, some snow picking up here. We've talked all about this for the last several days. Just a tremendous amount of moisture off the Pacific feeding into the west with storm after storm here. And all of these storms moving in will eventually move east and affect the rest of the country. And then we dry out some. And things get actually a little more calm next week across the west coast while the action picks up across the east. That's all I got for now, guys. Hope you'll subscribe and come back if you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time.